From Diddle Arena in Bowling Green, college basketball is back as the visiting Tennessee Tech Golden Eagles come to town, trying to bounce back from an 8-win campaign a year ago under new head coach John Pelphrey and return to the top half of the OVC. Meanwhile, the hometown Western Kentucky Hilltoppers have sky-high expectations. The overwhelming Conference USA favorites looking for a return to the NCAA tournament for the first time since 2013. With that, we say hello. Nate Gatter with you. And Jay, obviously big expectations for Western Kentucky, but Tennessee Tech is a relative unknown. 10 new players if you count redshirts from a year ago under a brand new coach, and the Golden Eagles are going to want to be putting pressure on the Hilltoppers right from the opening tip.
Tennessee Tech's going to be figuring out a lot of things about themselves early in this season with a new coaching staff and almost a whole new roster. So there's a lot of unknown about the Golden Eagles. Coming in here, West Kentucky, they got nothing to lose.
Crowd getting excited with the lights off for the intro video as they introduce the starting lineups for Western Kentucky. That'll be Jared Savage, Cameron Justice, Tavion Hollingsworth, Carson Williams, and the preseason All-American by some publications, Charles Bassey. Jay, it's no secret at all that Western Kentucky is going to go through Bassey on both ends of the floor.
That's right. He's going to be the focal point, both ends of the floor. Defensively, he's a presence around the rim. Can block shots, is a great rebounder, a very good outlet passer. On the offensive end, probably looking to expand his game a little bit this year, not be just a primary low post operator. He can step out, he can shoot. He wants to show that to the people that are looking at him for the next level.
Meanwhile, for Tennessee Tech, Keyshawn Davidson, the freshman who dropped 26 points in the Golden Eagles exhibition win last week over Bryan College. He starts along with Junior Clay, Darius Allen, the Baylor transfer, Amadou Sila, and Hunter Vick. A young but talented group for Tennessee Tech under new coach John Pelphrey. The same starting five for both teams used in their exhibition games. But Jay, tonight it's for real, and especially for these younger players, it's going to be interesting to see how they react to a pretty intense environment for an opener.
That's right. Western Kentucky's the most experienced team. They've been here. They've done this before. Tennessee Tech got a lot of young players trying to prove themselves to their coaching staff. So get more minutes and establish themselves in the rotation.
There is Tennessee Tech huddled up around John Pelphrey, former Kentucky Wildcat. His number 34 is retired in Lexington. He's a Kentucky native as well. In his 10th season as a Division I head coach, previously had stopped at South Alabama and Arkansas, and he takes over in Cookeville this season. Meanwhile, Western Kentucky has another well-known name around the college basketball world, in particular in the SEC, Rick Stansbury, who has faced Pelphrey a dozen times previously with the two as head coaches. Stansbury now in year 4 for the Hilltoppers, and Jay, he feels like this is probably the most complete team he's been able to put together.
He does. In his tenure here, this is his most complete team as far as depth. He's got experience. He's got inside and outside scoring. So high expectations for the Hilltoppers this year, as you mentioned.
Charles Bassey against Amadou Sila to tip in 2019. Bassey wins it for Western Kentucky, and Jared Savage controls. Carson Williams, transfer from Northern Kentucky. Tavion Hollingsworth. And a kick called against Darius Allen. Jay, this is a Western Kentucky team without a true point guard. Cameron Justice and Tavion Hollingsworth will share those duties. Kenny Cooper, the transfer from Lipscomb, has not been granted an NCAA waiver as of yet. He is still ineligible to play, at least for tonight. Inbound toward Bassey, but he couldn't control it. And Vick comes the other way for Tennessee Tech.
Great patience on that first possession by West Kentucky. You can tell where they want to go with the ball, at least early in the ball game. They want to get Bassey involved.
Davidson. Here's Allen with 8 to shoot. Mismatch against Bassey off the switch, and he lost it to Williams.
Bassey showing his versatility defensively there, able to step out and switch on the ball screen.
Neither one went down for him, but Williams gets the follow, and Western Kentucky has its first bucket. Tennessee Tech can shoot the basketball, going to want to do a lot of that. Inside, Sila has the opening deuce for the Golden Eagles.
Multiple ball screens from Tennessee Tech. That's going to be a key to the game defensively for Western Kentucky, how they handle the multiple ball screens from all over the floor that the Golden Eagles plan to set tonight.
Here's Justice. Hollingsworth with 8 to shoot. Into the lane, he's bumped. Was it in the act of shooting? We will find out. No, it's going to be a baseline out of bounds for Western Kentucky.
I think another key to the game defensively for Tennessee Tech is going to be play defense without fouling. Western Kentucky last year on the season made more free throws than their opponents attempted. That's a sign of an aggressive team that wants to attack, and I think Rick Stansbury wants his team to have that mindset tonight.
Justice can shoot it. He left that one well short, and Davidson the other way. Davidson was not shy, even in his first collegiate game, the exhibition against Bryan, firing away from deep. He drives past Bassey, who turns him away. And a walk called against Junior Clay. Western Kentucky blocked better than 5 shots per game last year to lead Conference USA. And again, Jay, it's no secret where that number originates. It's big number 23.
Well, that's a great move by Keyshawn Davidson. Got the paint right where he wanted, but Bassey just erases things down there. Not only that, with a shot blocker like Bassey, you can ignite your fast break, get out of transition, score some points.
First bucket for Tavion Hollingsworth. That gives him 998 career points. He needs 2 more to become the 50th Hilltopper ever to score 1,000. And this is only the first game of his junior season. Here's Sela. Has the only 2 points thus far for the Golden Eagles. Off Allen and Bassey. Last touch by the Nigerian. And Tennessee Tech will keep it. #102nd all-time meeting between these former OVC rivals. Officials want to talk things over now. Western Kentucky leads the all-time series 81-20, including 42 wins in 48 games in Bowling Green. But these two teams have not met since 2002, just before the new year in Hawaii. So the officials evidently satisfied, and Junior Clay will trigger for Tennessee Tech.
Zone defense on the out-of-bounds play by the Hilltoppers. Give the Golden Eagles a little different look.
Clay from way out, and Williams the rebound. Hollingsworth for 1,000. There it is. Tavion Hollingsworth, the first Hilltopper since Courtney Lee in 2006 to reach the 1,000-point mark in the opener of his junior year.
Second time tonight he's got the ball in the paint, not looking to settle for the perimeter jump shot, looking to attack.
Williams another early rebound. That's his 3rd. And he was looking for Bassey, who was wondering why he didn't shoot it.
Carson Williams probably should have gone up with that. Love the unselfishness, but sometimes they take what the defense gives you. That time they had given him a layup.
Williams, a transfer from Northern Kentucky, spent a couple of years with the Norse. Second season with the program, sat out last year after transferring. Now Tennessee Tech is confused on the first substitutions of the season. Not a good sign.
The West Kentucky coaching staff loves the toughness, physicality that Carson Williams brings to the table. Not the most skilled guy. All the things he does not going to be pretty, but they love having him on the floor because of his grittiness that he brings.
Big ovation, well-deserved for Tavion Hollingsworth. Just announced his 1,000th career point on the video board and over the public address system here at Diddle Arena. No substitutions yet for Western Kentucky. Nearly 4 minutes gone by first half. Here's Vick. Bodied by Justice, stolen by Williams. In by himself. It's a good student section, Jay, for a Tuesday night, and that'll get him going.
That's right. Love the transition bucket created by great defense on the other end by Carson Williams.
Massey got a hand to it. No, it was a foot. Kick called against the Hilltoppers. And that takes us into our first official timeout. A strong start to the season for Western Kentucky. Up 8-2 in the early going, including 1,000 career points for Tavion Hollingsworth. Back at Diddle Arena, where Western Kentucky is out to an 8-2 lead over Tennessee Tech. Nate Gatter, Jay Walton back with you on ESPN+. You can see the bearded grad transfer Cameron Justice there wiping himself with a towel in the huddle. He is the subject of our MedCenter Health injury report. MedCenter Health is the official healthcare partner of WKU Athletics. Justice, if you notice during the initial stretch of play, is wearing a protective mask over his face that I would imagine he's about to put back on. There it is. And that is as a precaution after he broke his nose 2 different times over the summer. And we were told, Jay, that he's broken it either 4 or 5 times now over the course of his life. And I would think as much as no player obviously wants to go through something like that, it's a testament to his toughness that he keeps literally sticking his nose in.
That's right. You stole my cliche. I was about to use that, but you do. You love the grittiness that he brings to the table and the experience as well. New to this Western Kentucky roster, but he's got some experience and games under his belt.
Junior Clay missed from way downtown earlier. Now he's 0 for 2. And Williams snags his game-high 4th rebound. Tavion Hollingsworth leads all scorers early with 4. Sloppy pass nearly stolen away. And it's Tennessee Tech's turn to try a little zone. Savage wants to shoot him out of it. Off the mark, and Clay the rebound. All the way. Drew the contact from Bassi. First foul called against the Nigerian. And that's something, of course, that any big man has to watch out for, especially one who's so important to his team as Bassi. And he picked up 4 fouls in only 26 minutes in the Hilltoppers exhibition against Kentucky State. So safe to say that would be the kind of thing that's probably always a concern for this coaching staff, just because of how much it would hurt to have him sit for an extended period of time.
Well, especially early in the season, a lot of times officials, you know, they're getting into preseason mode as well, and they're blowing the whistle a lot. And so early in the year, big guys like him tend to get in foul trouble a little bit more than they will come January, February. But right there, that foul was created. It wasn't Bassi that created the foul. It was a poor transition defense by the Hilltoppers. Junior Clay takes the ball right to the mouth of the rim. Nobody stopped the ball. Got to do better in transition defensively for the Hilltoppers.
Clay splits the free throws. So it's a 5-point Western Kentucky lead. Justice tried to sling it around toward Bassi. Instead recovered for the Golden Eagles by Tawante Williams, who gives it back. Sloppy November basketball. Hollingsworth, lob towards Savage. Snatched away by Williams, but again, the Hilltoppers have it back. One turnover after another. Justice for 3. Williams offensive rebound. A monster on the glass. Williams rewarded with 2 foul shots.
A lot of the preseason talk about Charles Bassi being a great rebounder. So far tonight, Carson Williams not giving Bassi an opportunity to get his hands on the ball much when it comes off the glass. He's relentless on both ends. Pays off there as he goes to the foul line.
That's 5 rebounds in not even 5.5 minutes for Williams.
Coach Rick Stansbury talked to me about getting him more involved in the post. He is more of a back-to-the-basket scorer than he is a perimeter player. But still feeling his way out, as they mostly want to play 4 out around Bassi. But got a little post-up opportunity there, missed the first one, got it back.
Williams hits both, and he is the first Western Kentucky starter to come off in favor of Josh Anderson, the junior from Baton Rouge, Louisiana, who last season started 28 of 34 Hilltoppers games, but he is sent to the bench, which, even if in his mind is a demotion, to Rick Stansbury has to be a compliment to the depth of his team.
Well, they'll be a little different now with Anderson in for Williams. Not quite as big, not quite as physical, a little bit smaller lineup, but way more athletic.
Williams lost it. Rawls the other way against Davidson. Was it a goaltend? It was. Early bucket for Jordan Rawls, the true freshman from Chattanooga.
The freshman, Tay Williams, just trying to do a little bit too much too soon in that possession. A little over penetration led to the turnover and the easy bucket.
By the way, our scoreboard, which is tied to the scoreboard here in the arena, is wrong. It's 12-3 right now, and the arena scoreboard also is showing 12-2, which is incorrect. The official stats do have 12-3 on the strength of that one Junior Clay free throw. So it is a 9-point lead for Western Kentucky. Favored by 19 coming into play tonight. Vic has been quiet early. Jared Sherfield. Davidson got the help of a moving screen from Larry Quimmy, and it's another early turnover. That is the 6th for Tennessee Tech already. 9 combined between these two teams, just over 6 minutes gone by.
Ball screen defense. Coach Sensbury has to be pleased so far. They've really done a great job of keeping the ball out of the paint, covering up, handling those ball screens that Tennessee Tech is setting all over the floor.
Rolls out of the corner. No three-pointers yet for Western Kentucky. Not a big part of the Hilltoppers game a year ago. Quest might have gotten away with a little shuffle. Triple team to the baseline. Sherfield open for 3. Rebound cleared by Isaiah Cozart, freshman from Richmond, Kentucky. Anderson, a high flyer, and Cozart interfered. Josh Anderson is known for his vertical leading to those big dunks, Jay, but you could see it there, even his ability to elevate before the defender is expecting it and use that to get to the rim.
He did. He just wasn't able to finish that time, but that's his game. He's a slasher. He's an open floor player. Loves to get to the middle of the paint. Loves to get to the foul line.
Hilltoppers attempted 30 free throws. Justice checks out in their exhibition win over Kentucky State on Saturday, although they made only 18 of them. They shot 60%, just 3 of 20, a 15% mark from 3. So they won by 40 points without shooting the ball well, really from anywhere. Sherfield wants a 3. Haven't seen one yet for either team. Offensive rebound pulled in momentarily by Darius Allen, but the Baylor transfer stepped out of bounds.
Just the lid on the basket right now for Tech. Just last 2 or 3 possessions, gotten good looks, just cannot get one to go down.
Here's Anderson. Rolls. Decided not to go for the corner 3 this time and kisses it nicely. Double-digit lead for Western Kentucky, first time tonight. And not the offensive start Tech wanted. Allen for 3. Rebound Savage. Tech is now 0 for 6 from deep. 2 teams combined have missed their first 10 three-point attempts. And again, three-pointer a much bigger part of the Golden Eagles game by necessity than it is for the Hilltoppers. Cozart on the low block. Good lefty hook.
Nice job by the freshman, get deep position, keep it simple, turn over his right shoulder for the nice left hook.
Sherfield off a couple of missed three-pointers, decided to go inside, and he has only the 2nd field goal for Tennessee Tech thus far. Cozart on the roll, contact, and an offensive foul. Sherfield there again, and that takes us to another official timeout after the offensive foul against Cozart, who showed some aggression in his early minutes, first game of his collegiate career. Good start for Western Kentucky. Neither team shooting well from deep, but the Hilltoppers up 11. 16-5 lead in the early going for Western Kentucky over Tennessee Tech on opening night around college basketball. Nate Gatter, Jay Walton back with you from Diddle Arena. Just over 8 minutes gone by, and Western Kentucky not shooting well from deep, neither the Golden Eagles, but the Hilltoppers have been able to make their mark on the backboards, and Jay in particular in the paint. That's not a big surprise.
No, they definitely have a size advantage that they'll continue to take advantage of, and that stretch right there with Charles Bassey off the floor, Tennessee Tech unable to capitalize in the paint. Now he's back, and it's not something you want to do is attack the rim with him out there.
12 of Western Kentucky's 16 points have come in the paint thus far. Tennessee Tech has turned the ball over 7 times in just over 8 minutes. Keyshawn Davidson only attempted 1 shot thus far, did not score. Junior Clay has tried a couple of deep threes to no success. Runs into Bassey, who has his first steal. Anderson in the open floor for 2.
Tennessee Tech's 8th turnover, and combined with the cold shooting, off to a rough start offensively. Got to take better care of the basketball. Make sure your team gets a great look every time down the floor.
Darius Allen draws Bassey, gets all the way to the rim. His first bucket as a Golden Eagle. Allen, the transfer from Baylor, third collegiate stop. Spent a couple of years at Palm Beach State in junior college. Rawls, Williams. He's been the early offensive star for the Hilltoppers. Rawls baseline. Contact, no whistle. The Hilltoppers will keep it with 10 to shoot. And Tavion Hollingsworth, the 1,000-point man, checks back in. Get a second look. A lot of ball from Reese Wilkerson, redshirt freshman from Miami. Turn that one away.
See what kind of look we get on the out-of-bounds play here. I'm expecting a post entry to Bassey.
Hollingsworth. Bassey steps away. Long two is short, and the rebound snatched down well by Clay. Vic might be getting a little bit impatient, hasn't had a good look. Allen wants a three. Still nothing for either team. Rebound Bassey, that's his second. Against Wilkerson. Left it short again, Vic the rebound. Good pass from Vic to Wilkerson. That's back-to-back buckets for Tennessee Tech to cut it back down to a 9-point deficit.
That ball screen at the top of the key right there in the middle third of the floor. There's just not a help side defender. They were able to get the roll guy going to the bucket that time.
Rawls contacted again by Wilkerson, who touched it last. And now, Jay, you'll get another look at a baseline out-of-bounds sequence from Western Kentucky.
Yeah, last time I was thinking post up for Bassey. He stepped out trying to show the range a little bit. He can hit that shot. Did not shoot a ton of those last year, but he's got a nice touch and been working on that a great deal in the offseason.
Yeah, Bassey made 9 out of 20 3-pointers last year, which is 45%. Had he shot more, that would be among the national leaders. But he was very selective, not even an attempt per game. Justice to Bassey, walked with it. When you're 6'11" and have legs long enough to match, you're not going to get away with many hops like that.
No, just a little off balance there. Great job on the ball screen and roll, and a good feed by Justice. Just got to catch first before you try to make a move.
The starting five on the floor for Western Kentucky. Tawante Williams is the only substitute out there for the Golden Eagles. He's in place of Darius Allen. Vic with 9 to shoot. Still Vic with 4. The trigger, and he gets it. First three ball of the night for either team, and it comes from Hunter Vic, the redshirt sophomore from Camden, Tennessee.
They really needed that shot. Shot clock winding down, not much there, and Hunter Vic just rises up and hits with Bassey in his face.
That's a 7-0 Tech run. Hollingsworth step back, answers.
Hollingsworth. He can score in a variety of ways. You've seen it tonight. He's gotten in the paint twice there with a nice, tough step-back jump shot. He can shoot the three. Just a complete offensive game.
Williams, Justice for 3. Offensive rebound, Savage. He'll try it. Air ball. And neither Hollingsworth nor Williams able to save it. Western Kentucky misses back-to-back three-pointers. The Hilltoppers are now 0 for 6.
Jared Savage is a little frustrated right now, having a hard time getting going offensively so far tonight. And may have forced one a little bit there, just trying to get himself going. In that situation, a lot of times you want to try to get yourself to the foul line, get a couple of free throws, or get an easy bucket in transition.
Here's Williams, pulled up. Air ball on the other end, and out of bounds off of Sela to take us to another media timeout. So Tennessee Tech battling back within 8, but Western Kentucky still in front, opening up the 2019-2020 season. Stay with us. Back to Bowling Green after this. Tennessee Tech had a 7-0 spurt to cut the deficit down to 6, but it's back out to a 20-12 Western Kentucky lead on opening night at Diddle Arena. Nate Gatter, Jay Walton back with you in Bowling Green. The Hilltoppers with Heart program is designed to give WKU student athletes, coaches, and staff the opportunity to make an impact in the Bowling Green and Warren County communities. Passport Health Plan is a proud sponsor of WKU's Hilltoppers with Heart. If you qualify for Medicaid, call 1-800-578-0603 and make Passport your health plan. You do have a choice, so choose Passport and treat yourself to a healthier life. Still the starting five on the floor for Western Kentucky.
First look at zone defense from Tennessee Tech out of the timeout.
Inside toward Bassey, poked away by Sela. He lost it back to Savage. Shot clock did not reset. It's Hollingsworth with 7 to shoot. Williams to Justice out of the corner. Finally a 3-ball. Western Kentucky started 0 for 6, but Justice shot better than 35% last year at IUPUI. Vick answers back, his second 3-pointer.
Both guys took a little bit longer to get going than they would have liked, but maybe they can start to heat up and get things going for their teams offensively.
Two teams combined started 0 for 11. Savage still scoreless, one of 4 returning Hilltoppers who averaged better than a dozen a game last year, but he's picked off by Clay, who makes it a 5-0 Tennessee Tech run, and the Golden Eagles have cut their deficit down to a half dozen again. Hollingsworth off a good pump fake, but couldn't finish it. Sela the rebound.
Great patience. Got his defender off the feet, just not able to put it in the hole.
So here is Clay, second team All-OVC a year ago as a true freshman. Vick thought about another 3, pull up instead, and Bassey clears the rebound, his third.
Not so sure Vick did get nicked on the arm on the way up there.
He and Justice matched up against each other on both ends of the floor. Justice tried to step through, lost it momentarily, and it's last out off Tech. So the Hilltoppers keep it. Certainly been a sloppy first 14 minutes or so. Not surprising for early November basketball, but probably both teams at this point of the game would think there are bright spots. Tech in particular, even though Vick just checked out, if the Golden Eagles could shoot a little bit closer to the 42% from 3 they had against Bryan in their exhibition last week, they could be right in this thing.
They've got to take better care of the ball as well. They got 14 points for West Kentucky off of their turnovers so far.
Justice pull up. Missed his first 3 shots. He's hit his last 2.
They love the versatility that he brings. There's not anything offensively that he doesn't do. He can shoot, he can handle, he can distribute. He's crafty. He's got a very, very high basketball IQ.
Grad transfer from IUPUI. Williams, a freshman from Chicago against Savage. Baseline pass Bassey. Clay with 6 to shoot. It's out of bounds. Looked like last off the Golden Eagles. It was, and Western Kentucky takes over. Probably safe to say, though, that as much as the coaching staff does love Justice's versatility, they didn't necessarily expect to have to rely upon it as much as they have, particularly he and Hollingsworth, a couple of combo guards having to split the point guard duties with Kenny Cooper, the transfer from Lipscomb, still not yet eligible with his waiver. Williams, first slam of his collegiate career off a sloppy turnover from Western Kentucky. Jay, you talked about how Tech needs to take better care of the basketball, but in this sequence, the Hilltoppers have had a couple of perimeter passes intercepted.
Yeah, that was just being loose with Hollingsworth. That's not characteristic of him. He's an older guy, played a lot of minutes, and not a true point guard, but he's better than that. He'd like to have that pass back.
So Jared Savage mentioned he still is scoreless, but he's fouled and will go to the line. Redshirt senior in his second year with the program, transferred in from Austin Peay, who will be the Hilltoppers' opponent Saturday afternoon here. Shot nearly 82% for the Stripe last season.
I like that by Savage. He hasn't been able to start clicking offensively yet. Hadn't got the 3-point shots to go down like he likes. So what does he do? He attacks the rim, gets himself to the foul line. Sometimes for a player that's slumping a little bit, that can knock the lid off the basket for him.
Savage start at Warren Central High School, only a mile from Diddle Arena. Went to the 2016 NCAA tournament with Austin Peay. He scored 24 points in the 8th-seeded Governors OVC Championship game victory over UT Martin, and was with them when they lost to Kansas in the first round. Davidson on the pull-up, and he finally takes the lid off the basket. His first collegiate official bucket, had 26 points in the exhibition against Bryan.
Numbers he put up tonight, or the other night against Bryan, he was not going to sneak up on anyone tonight. They were keying on him early in the game, and for a freshman, sometimes that's hard to deal with. And finally gets one to go down.
Bassey over Sela. He's the last Western Kentucky starter to get on the scoreboard.
Tough shot on the baseline, but like I said, he's got that touch. He can shoot that basketball.
Missed his first 4 field goal attempts tonight. And he alters Williams' shot. Rebound by Western Kentucky's Williams, who also wears 22. Justice called for having stepped out of bounds, and that will take us into the break. Last year, Charles Bassey shot nearly 63% from the field. This year he started 0 for 4, but he is finally on the board. Preseason All-American by Sub Publications makes it an 8-point Western Kentucky lead. Jay, we've seen just over 16 minutes of basketball now to open up the 2019-20 season from Diddle Arena in Bowling Green. Western Kentucky up by 8. If you were either coach right now, what's one positive and one negative for both teams?
Tennessee Tech, the positive for them is when they've taken care of the basketball, they've got good shots. They've not shot the ball well, but when they don't turn it over, they're getting good looks. Those will fall. That's what you're telling your team in the huddle right now if you're John Pelfrey. You're just telling guys, we got to take care of the ball, and those shots will start to fall. Don't give them easy baskets in transition. For Western Kentucky, I'm very, very pleased with my ball screen defense. Charles Bassey's been a great communicator and talking those screens out, and they've done a lot of different things. They have switched some, and he's handled the ball handler coming off of that screen, kept that guy in front, made him shoot over it. He's done a good job of hedging and getting back. So that's the 2 positives that I would take away from either side.
Davidson did finally get off the schneid. Had his first bucket a couple of minutes before the break. Vick spent the last few minutes before the break on the bench. Here's Allen for a 3. And Justice pulls down the rebound. Bassey, he tried one of these earlier. He's now 0 for 2 from that mid-range and 1 of 6 from the floor. And a foul called for a moving screen against Reese Wilkerson. Second time in the first half that Tech has been nabbed for an illegal screen.
John Pelfrey didn't like that one, but big Reese Wilkerson was a little bit late, did not get all the way set before he makes contact there. They're going to get you, especially this early in the season. It's going to be a point of emphasis.
Williams been quiet since the early going, spins away from Allen, left it short, and Allen the rebound. In particular for Reese Wilkerson, hard to hide at 6'9", 270 pounds.
They think he's their best post presence, and obviously size-wise, he has the bulk to go match up with Bassey, and he's their most prolific scorer down low.
Over Bassey on the fall away, not bad touch.
Yeah, good move, just not a great finish.
Hollingsworth, little nudge on Davidson, back iron to Vick. And John Pelfrey, perhaps with good reason, wanted a foul against Bassey, which would have been a sloppy one to give away. Some 93 feet away from the bucket. Sherfield off the mark, Hollingsworth can run. Bassey, hacked by Vick, and still finishes.
Great hands in traffic and a good dump-off pass by Hollingsworth.
And a timeout called by John Pelfrey and Tennessee Tech. The deficit for the Golden Eagles has ballooned back to 10. Get a second look at that play.
Big fella keeps it simple. Does not bring the ball down where the guards have a chance to rip it away. He catches high, keeps high, is able to finish in traffic.
16 points and 10 rebounds in the exhibition against Kentucky State for Bassey, who led the team better than 14.5 a game, and 10 boards last year, all shooting efficiently from everywhere, including 77% from the foul line, which has to stand out for a 6'11" freshman. And he was rewarded the last couple of days with being named to the watch list for both the Naismith and Wooden Award, just one of 50 players in the country named to both of those lists, the two most prestigious award for National Player of the Year.
Well, the numbers he put up as a freshman, very, very impressive. Tested the waters of the NDBA draft and got some feedback that helped him improve, and they're glad to have him back here on the Hill this season.
You think that was a good change that the NCAA made a couple of years ago to allow players to go through significantly more of that process, basically do everything except hire an agent in order to get a feel for where they are in the NBA eyes?
I do. I think it keeps a guy from Charles Basham feeling like he has to make that decision. He can go make all the inquiries he needs to make, get the feedback he needs, and make the right decision for he and his family.
Kick by Savage, and I would imagine the individual schools, in this case Western Kentucky and Rick Stansbury, very happy to have him go through that process because he gets high-level evaluation and he gets feedback. Maybe Rick Stansbury's been saying, hey, you need to work on this, and Bassey's saying, sure.
That's exactly right. Coach and I talked about that before the game, and hey, this is what they're telling you. If you come back, we're going to make sure that we help you develop in these areas. A year from now could be a different draft stock for him.
Hollingsworth behind the back, and Bassey is fouled by Davidson. Nearly a highlight reel pass and finish in the opening half of the season.
That was a great behind-the-back pass. I don't know how he saw Bassey under there, but a great find by Hollingsworth. Again, he's been a presence just getting in the paint. When he gets in the paint, good things happen, and I like the fact tonight that he has not settled for the perimeter jump shot early in possessions. He has put his nose down, tried to attack, get to the rim, and create not only for himself, but for his teammates as well.
Mentioned a good foul shooter, Bassey misses the first. This is a Western Kentucky team that did not rely on a whole lot of perimeter scoring last year. You get another look at that foul. Davidson catching Bassey from behind. Team that shot toward the bottom half of Conference USA three-point percentage and made only 6 per game, fewest in the league out of 14 teams.
Well, 1-3-1 extended trap here by the Hilltoppers for the first time tonight.
Clay steps through, and he will go to the foul line.
That's where Junior Clay is really good. He gets in gaps, he makes things happen by his penetration, and that time able to get really, really deep in that 1-3-1 and tacking it off the dribble and forcing the foul.
Sophomore from Chattanooga, mentioned a second-team all-conference choice a year ago, contributed in all areas for the Golden Eagles. Led the team in scoring, nearly 14.5 per game. Also led in assists and steals. Both of those numbers ranked in the top 5 in the Ohio Valley Conference.
Carried a big load for the Golden Eagles last year offensively, and I think this year their coaching staff wants him to feel like he can be more of a distributor. They've got some guys around him that can make shots. He can get in the paint and create those shots. He does not have to feel like he needs to score as much as he did a season ago.
Cuts the deficit back to single digits for Tech. Clay has a team-high 5 points. Hollingsworth leads all scorers with 6. Justice for 3. And 1. Justice missed his first 3 from the field. He's hit 3 shots in a row, and he'll get a chance at a 4-point play.
The ball screen action on the wing. Charles Bassey rolls hard to the basket. You've got to cover that up. You cannot give him the layup. Cam Justice was the lift man on the wing, catches him wide open. And the Cardinal sin, you never want to foul a jump shooter. And giving him the opportunity here for a 4-point play.
Second team All-Horizon League honoree last year at IUPUI. Shot better than 85% from the line. And he hits his first as a Hilltopper to give him a game-high 9 points. And you can see his experience. To start 0 for 3, the opener with a new team in front of new fans had to be jangling the nerves a little bit, and now he's hit 3 in a row, including converting a 4-point play.
Well, he took shots that are in rhythm. He didn't force the issue. He waited for the game to come to him, and now he's heated up.
Has the discipline of an experienced player, too. Took 250 shots just in the pregame before even getting to the warm-up for the exhibition. Allen off the mark from 3, and Savage called for a rebounding foul. But 250 jump shots from Justice, just getting ready to warm up for the exhibition game against Kentucky State.
It's funny how that works. no secret why he's one of the better shooters on this Hilltopper roster.
And in one sense, he's the Hilltoppers' leading returning scorer. Technically, of course, he's not returning to the team, but he averaged better than 18.5 points a game a year ago, which leads all players in the roster. Not that the Hilltoppers need scoring help. They returned 4 players who had 12 points a game or better. Play from way out, nearly got it. And it ends up with Anderson. Western Kentucky can hold for almost the final shot. 3-second, maybe 4-second differential. And of course, in college basketball, the game clock will keep running on a made basket. Hilltoppers are going to use their timeout of the first half, use it or lose it for Rick Stansbury. So he's going to draw something up in the final 19.7 seconds here from Diddle Arena, where Western Kentucky has stretched it back out to a 13-point lead. Overall, Jay, do you think Coach Stansbury would be happy with where his team is through almost 20 minutes of the season?
I do. He's got some guys that did not, love to get Savage more involved offensively, get him a couple of good looks at the basket, get him going. And then obviously Bassey, want to get him more post touches. I've been a little bit surprised that they have not tried to pound the ball inside to him. But again, like you said, they're balanced. They don't have to rely on him for all their scoring. So they're sitting here with a 13-point lead, and he's not really been a factor offensively yet.
Only 5 points for Bassey, only 3 rebounds, perhaps an even more surprising number. Western Kentucky picked to win Conference USA in the preseason coaches poll, received 13 of 14 possible votes. Finished 3rd in the league last year, and for the 2nd season in a row, lost in the conference championship game to Marshall in 2018, Old Dominion last season. Savage out of the corner. Hollingsworth to follow. Takes some contact, knocked out of bounds, and now we'll see what Western Kentucky has for a late clock baseline inbound with 2 seconds to go.
Well, a great play call out of the timeout by Coach Stansbury to overload the side against the zone and got the shot they wanted in the corners. Savage cold so far tonight from the perimeter.
Allen out, Wilkerson in. Cielo wants to come in as well.
Watch a lob to the rim here for either Bassey or Josh Anderson. Not a lot of time on the clock. Got to get something quick. Want to go to the basket.
Hollingsworth to trigger. 2.1 to go. Anderson at the horn. Off the mark, but Western Kentucky will take a 13-point lead into the break. Western Kentucky had a strong start. Poor shooting from deep, though. And recovered as the half went on, especially Cam Justice, who got things going from the outside. And the Hilltoppers up 13 at halftime. Stay with us. Halftime in Bowling Green on opening night of the 2019-2020 college basketball season, where the hometown Western Kentucky Hilltoppers have built a 13-point lead over Tennessee Tech. Don't go anywhere. When we get back, we'll be talking to Western Kentucky cross-country head coach Tim Sykes in his first season about how he's enjoyed it on the Hill and get a little info about the Hilltoppers cross-country team. That is after the break. Stay with us. Back at Diddle Arena, where Western Kentucky has a 13-point lead in the opener against Tennessee Tech. And we say hello again courtside. Nate Gatter alongside Tim Sykes, new cross-country head coach for Western Kentucky. Coach, obviously in your first season, there's an adjustment period and all of that. How are you enjoying your first year on the Hill?
Thanks for interviewing, spending some time with me, Nate. It's been a great experience so far. The administration has been very supportive of our vision, our values, and the culture that we're creating with the women's and men's cross-country team. I've been met with a lot of friendly smiles and warm welcomes. Couldn't ask for a better beginning.
Can you take us through the process of hosting the Conference USA cross-country tournament?
First and foremost, anytime you're putting on a first-class event, you want to do it right. So we put a lot of time and energy between the coaching staff and the athletic administration into making sure things were done correctly. So after we identified the 8K course, the men run about 5 miles in collegiate cross-country, and the women's 6K course, that was my job. I left it up to the athletic administration to do the conference liaison work, and then it all came together on race day very seamlessly, and I believe everybody had a very good experience. Most importantly, the student-athlete experience was very, very highly we had good feedback from the student athletes.
With the team planning to take student athletes to regionals for the first time since 2016, what are you hoping that they take individually out of that experience and that the program takes out of it?
On the men's side, we're taking a full team. We're taking 7 men, and then on the ladies' side, we're taking 2 ladies this year. And with not being there since 2016, we just want to give them that experience of a regionals experience where they're getting on the line with a lot of really, really good teams. So on the men's side, we'd love to be top 20 there. Top 15 would be really, really nice. We want to mix it up with some teams that we haven't beat in a while. And then on the ladies' side, we just want to improve those 2 individuals' times and progress there. So overall, it helps with recruiting to go to the regional championships. It helps with finishing out the season strong, and from an overall experience, it just enhances that student athlete's experience.
Well, Coach, thanks so much. Welcome to Western Kentucky.
Thank you, Nate.
That's Tim Sykes, the cross-country head coach for the Hilltoppers. Men's basketball team up by 13 at the break. We'll have highlights after this. Western Kentucky has a 36-23 advantage over Tennessee Tech. Nate Gatter, Jay Walton with you at the half at Diddle Arena. Gives us a chance to go back to some of the highlights of the first 20 minutes, which were maybe slow in starting. Neither team had a particularly strong shooting start or strong shooting first half, but they picked it up as things went along. Tavion Hollingsworth did get off to a high-flying start, if only with 4 points to reach 1,000 for his career.
Well, he's not a true point guard. Neither is Justice, like we mentioned. So that could have something to do with the way that the Hilltoppers were a little bit sluggish offensively in the first half. But he's done a nice job of getting in the paint, creating some shots. You know he's going to get his. You know he's going to score. So it's nice to see him kind of take the foot off the gas just a little bit and look to get others involved instead of forcing the issue so much for himself.
Meanwhile, Western Kentucky did get shots to fall down the stretch, mainly Cameron Justice. Here's a 4-point play.
Yeah, he took a while to get himself going as well, but you know he's going to be a big part of what they do offensively, and he's shown it. He can catch and shoot from the perimeter. And then that last little bit of contact by the Tennessee Tech defender, you never want to do that. If a guy makes a three-pointer in your face, you take your hat off to him, but you never want to give him an opportunity to go to the foul line and make a 4-point play.
Justice leads all scorers with 9 points. Hunter Vick leads Tennessee Tech in points, rebounds, and assists. 20 minutes still to go from Diddle Arena. Western Kentucky up 13 at the break. Western Kentucky 36, Tennessee Tech 23 after 20 minutes of action tonight from Diddle Arena. Nate Gatter, Jay Walton back with you on ESPN+. So glad we could be a part of your Tuesday evening. Certainly worked for Tennessee Tech to do, Jay, in the second half, but the Golden Eagles did show significant strong moments in those first 20 minutes, cut it a couple of times down to 6 points.
Got to knock some of these perimeter jump shots down. I mean, Darius Allen 0 for 5. You know he's a high-level shooter. Expect to see him get going here early in the second half.
And Tech started slowly against Bryan College last week in the exhibition as well. Sela against Bassey. Davidson, baseline, smooth reverse.
That was a great move. I think the defender thought he was looking to make that baseline drift pass to the corner. Went up on the reverse for the layup instead.
The Golden Eagles trailed with 15 minutes to go in that game against Bryan. Ended up going on a run midway through the second half to win by 19. Although they struggled with turnovers that night as well. 17 of them, 4 more than Bryan made. Savage, baseline Williams, blocked by Vick. 3 to shoot. Foul by Vick. Williams plus the foul.
We talked about him earlier. He's not pretty. That was not a beautiful basketball play, but Carson Williams got the job done. He goes up strong and gets the shot blocked, but hustles, gets his own rebound back. He's just relentless on the offensive glass, defensive glass too, but right there, you know, not going to make a highlight reel, but coaches love it.
Former Kentucky Mr. Basketball in 2016 off the mark, and Allen skies for the rebound. He won that the year after. It went to Cameron Justice, guarding Clay here. Fellow transfer to the Hill. Allen against Bassey. And perhaps a block for Bassey. No, it was off Allen. Out of bounds, just lost the handle.
Tennessee Tech coach John Pelfrey, a former Kentucky Mr. Basketball as well.
Went on to become a Kentucky Wildcat. Member of the Unforgettables, as dubbed by Rick Pitino. And of course, faithfully was guarding Christian Laettner in the 1992 Elite Eight when the shot went down to send Duke to the Final Four. Savage on the drive. Teardrop goes.
Good to see him attacking the basket. Get himself going early in the second half, being aggressive off the dribble. He's got a nice frame. He can get in the paint, take some contact, and still be able to finish. He shot a lot of free throws last year.
Clay, moving screen called against Sela. The Golden Eagles have been nailed for 3 of those in not even 22 minutes, and John Pelfrey has taken exception at least to the last 2.
I don't know about that one. It wasn't egregious by any means, but maybe a little bit of movement. Got his elbows outside the body, maybe slightly on the contact there. So
second called against Sela. He and Davidson have 2 personals apiece. Justice rejects the screen, finishes easily. First into double figures.
Great read by Justice. Defender cheats the high side of the ball screen and just takes what the defense gives him.
And Bassey pins Clay's layup. Sela finishes over it. Savage baseline. Bowls over the help side defender, Dane Quest. And a blocking foul against Quest, the freshman from Toronto.
Again, Savage showing he's not content to settle for perimeter jump shots. Second time already this half that he's attacked the rim.
Savage started all 34 games a year ago for the Hilltoppers. Averaged nearly 36 minutes per game, 5th in Conference USA. Rick Stansbury, as we've seen already tonight, even in the season opener, is not shy about riding his starters in the core group of 6 or 7 players at the very least for significant minutes.
Yeah, not a lot of opportunity for a young player early in the season to get out there and prove yourself so far.
Perhaps even added incentive from Stansbury's perspective anyway to have his starting group stretch this game out a little bit, and if the Hilltoppers lead by 20 plus final 10 minutes or so, might get a chance to see some of those younger players get on the court early to start their careers. Davidson past Justice. Sela against Bassey. Back-to-back finishes of the big Nigerian.
Tennessee Tech coach's staff before the game says about Sela that he's all energy, all effort, does his job. His job is to finish around the basket, make energy plays. 2 finishes over Bassey so far in the early going in the second half.
Speaking of all energy, all effort, how about Carson Williams?
Man, I love this guy. What blue-collar work ethic he has, and really stealing the show from Charles Bassey as far as rebounds go on both ends of the floor. And I think he understands that that's his role. They're not going to throw me the ball a lot. I'm not going to have an opportunity to go operate and score. So if I want to go get it, I got to get it off the glass. And so far tonight, he's been willing to do that.
That's 11 points, matches Cam Justice for the game high, the 2 transfers. And Williams leads everybody with 7 rebounds. He averaged 12 points, nearly a half dozen boards a couple of years ago, his final season in Northern Kentucky. Davidson fouled by Hollingsworth. But this Western Kentucky lead has quietly ballooned to 17.
Great start. That's what you want as a coaching staff coming out of the locker room at halftime. The first 5 minutes or so in the second half is the most important part of the game. Got to be pleased if you're Rick Stansbury, the way his team's responded.
Davidson, the freshman from Murfreesboro. Spent 3 years there at Oakland High School. Junior year, he's first team All-State. Then won at Athens Prep in Athens, Tennessee. He's originally committed to play in Conference USA at Middle Tennessee.
Right,
November
a big-time rival of the Hilltoppers here.
Yeah, November of 2017, he committed to go to Middle, but Kermit Davis, of course, departed after that season for Ole Miss. Williams wants a 3. What can Williams not do?
He's feeling it a little bit. Sometimes the energy that you give yourself by just playing hard, doing the dirty work, good things start to happen. They have confidence in the fact that he can shoot the ball. He's not going to, lead the team in attempts by any means, but he's got the green light when he's open.
He's hit 5 of 7 from the field. Game high 14 points for Williams to go with his game high 7 rebounds in his Toppers debut. Golday over Bassey at an 8th rebound for Williams, who's going to bring the ball up the floor. Justice over Vick and one. It's the transfers, Justice and Williams. Kentucky Mr. Basketball in 2015 and 2016 stealing the show.
Cameron Williams starts that by the great defensive rebound, and I love the dribble bust-out move. He's got the green light to take the ball off the glass, push it, not necessarily outlet to a point guard, but get the ball and go, and he takes the ball down and creates the opportunity for his teammate Justice with a great finish. Hilltoppers got it going a little bit offensively right now. And Tech really needs to stop the bleeding. On this next possession, really need to get a great look at the basket.
A rare miss from Justice at the stripe, where he shot better than 85% last year at IUPUI. That's 27 of Western's 51 points combined between Williams and Justice. Sela, this lay-in for his 6th point of the second half.
Great job creating by Davison. Get in the paint, lift the defenders, throw the bounce pass underneath.
Williams, baseline Anderson, walked with it. And that sends us into a break. Justice and Williams combined 27 points on only 15 attempts from the field. In particular, Cameron Justice, told you he missed those first 3 shots. He's hit 5 in a row. 51-32 now the Western Kentucky lead. Western Kentucky has stretched things out with 6 field goal attempts in a row going down for the Hilltoppers. They're now shooting better than 50% for the ball game and lead by 19. Nate Gatter, Jay Walton back with you from Diddle Arena. WKU women's golf senior Mary Joyner has submitted herself as the best to ever play for the program heading into her final year, bringing a WKU and Conference USA record 6 career victories into her final campaign. She also set a new program record with a 73.4 stroke average in 2018-19. Joyner has been named a Women's Golf Coaches Association All-American Scholar and completed her bachelor's degree in finance in just 3 years with a 3.89 GPA. She's currently in graduate school at WKU pursuing her MBA. Today's Student Athlete Spotlight is brought to you by Franklin Bank and Trust, your hometown bank since 1958. So Tennessee Tech with a basketball out of the timeout. And the Golden Eagles desperately need to turn something around in this second half. Clay tracks it down. Justice tries to tie him up and is called for a foul. Jay, that was right in front of us, and it looked like Justice's left hand was in there pretty much only on the basketball.
I did not see what official Antonio Petty saw on that one. I saw a pretty clean hand on the ball.
Should be a decent look. Looks like a lot of ball, and the right hand isn't even in there.
As Junior Clay ripped the ball away, maybe it looked like he had a piece of arm, but good job by Justice getting in there and mixing it up.
Unfortunately for the officials, those replays you see are also played on the stadium video board. Williams might have dragged his foot. Here's Davidson, 6 to shoot. He has some range, but this will be from way down. No, it's Clay. He has not cashed in yet, although he's not been afraid. Quimmy bowls over Williams, offensive foul. Carson Williams is everywhere.
Wow, making his presence felt. The young man paid his dues, sat out last year, and you can tell he's been itching to get on the floor and play here in Diddle Arena. And this crowd's going to love what he brings to the table.
It's still almost the starting 5. Everyone except Charles Bassey on the floor for the Hilltoppers. Josh Anderson is in hit spot, so it's a really small Western Kentucky lineup right now. Really 4 around 1, and Williams, the 1, is only 6'5". Pass behind Williams, off Anderson. Williams ends up with it, all the way in for 2. Fortunate for the freshman, but he stuck with it. And another turnover by Western Kentucky, and a foul called against Anderson.
Hollingsworth trying to go for the home run there. Tried to lob to Anderson on the previous possession and tries to thread the needle in transition right there. And you're up 17, opening night, maybe get away with that a little bit.
The Hilltoppers have still made their last 6 field goal attempts in a row, but they've turned the ball over 3 times in the last 99 seconds.
Yep, and Tennessee Tech really needs a bucket here. Let's see what we get. set play action or put the bigs in a ball screen again.
Wante Williams pump fakes nicely past Savage, couldn't finish. Sherfield on the follow. Davidson. Williams for three. Rebounded by Bassey. That's his fifth. Rawls is in along with Bassey. Williams and Hollingsworth sat down. Anderson has been quiet. He's hand-checked by Williams. Tennessee Tech picked to finish last out of the dozen teams in the Ohio Valley Conference. Only won 8 games a year ago, in large part because of poor offense. Top of that, the Golden Eagles struggled on the glass and turned the ball over quite a bit. That's already 17 fouls against Tennessee Tech in 6 minutes of this second half. So Josh Anderson goes to the foul line where he was a 71% shooter a year ago. Anderson started all but 6 games for Western Kentucky last year. Looks like he's going to be in a bench role this season. Although cashed in for 14 points against Kentucky State in the exhibition despite playing only 19 minutes.
He's a high energy guy. Sometimes when those guys come off the bench, and it elevates what you're doing on both ends of the floor, and that's certainly what he brings to the table. Very, very different than when Carson Williams is on the floor, but certainly love his energy and the way he attacks the rim.
Rawls for three. Air ball, Bassey.
Heads up touch pass by Jared Savage. He had the vision, saw Bassey running the goal. Nice tip right to the guy for the dunk.
21-point Western Kentucky lead. Timeout called by Tennessee Tech. The Hilltoppers flying high to start the second half. They've hit 7 of their last 8 from the field, and they have stretched the lead past 20 points once again. It's a season opening party at Diddle Arena. Western Kentucky has gone up by 21. Big Red enjoying it at least as much as the hometown crowd at Diddle Arena. Nate Gatter, Jay Walton back with you on ESPN+. Jay, the only thing that jumps out statistically that Western Kentucky is not doing very well also happened in the exhibition when the Hilltoppers had only 13 assists on 32 made field goals. Tonight they've had only 7 on 21 makes. How much of that do you think is just the offense that they're going to run and shouldn't be a concern? How much of it do you think is a group that has a couple of transfers and is still kind of trying to figure things out a bit?
Well, you got no true point guard on the floor, number one. Number two, you got some guys that can score. You got guys that like to put the ball up. So a lot of their buckets are going to come off a one-on-one. A lot of their buckets are going to come in transition, off penetration. So not overly concerned about it. I would love to have that transfer of Kenny Cooper available to be that true point guard distributor. But as of right now, I think they're in good hands with Justice and Hollingsworth.
Allen's pass stolen by Rawls. True freshman from Chattanooga. Justice scoops and just missed. That's his first miss since his opening 3 attempts. He had made 5 in a row, and Davidson the other way.
Getting out and open the floor and making some transition buckets is really what Tennessee Tech needs to do. To do that, you got to get stops on the defensive end. So far in the second half, you've not been able to do that.
Bassey fouled by Sela, who picks up his 3rd personal foul. Anderson also has 3 for Western Kentucky, and with the Hilltoppers in the bonus, Sela sent Bassey to the foul line, really where he is 1 of 2 so far.
Really one of the first times tonight that they've tried to post him up and get his guy buried down in the paint. He's a big target down there, and Sela just not able to get around.
If you were a Hilltoppers fan, how concerned would you be about Bassey's quiet first half?
Oh, not at all. Not at all. I mean, you know the numbers he put up last year. The thing I'm encouraged by, he's not a selfish guy. I don't think he's worried about it right now. Coaching staff probably like him to be a little bit more that way and go get his. But no, if I'm a fan, I know what Charles is capable of, and I'm just fine with him taking a back seat from time to time.
Davidson all the way. He's heating up.
I feel like they got a steal in this young man. He's going to have a great career in the Ohio Valley Conference. had a little tough time getting going tonight. And West Kentucky's done a great job of bottling up the perimeter players from Tennessee Tech. But this young man's a great player and going to have a fantastic career.
Bassey lost it to Allen, tried to poke it back, and did evidently no. The initial call was to give the basketball to Western Kentucky. But it's back to the Golden Eagles after the Bassey turnover. Davidson had offers from UAB, Austin Peay. Moorhead State on the table. Chose Tennessee Tech after decommitting from Middle Tennessee when Kermit Davis left following the Raiders' run of the NCAA tournament to go to Ole Miss. He's in his second season now. Davidson fouled by Rawls. And that takes us into a break. Western Kentucky leads by 18, spoiling John Pelfrey's debut as the Golden Eagles' new head coach. All Western Kentucky tonight. (56-38) is the Western Kentucky lead. It's been a balanced scoring attack for the Hilltoppers. And Jay, I suppose that's the flip side. You already said you're not worried about Charles Bassey, and the positive is that every Western Kentucky starter has at least 5 points. Looks like there's a good chance you could end up with all of them into double figures, and it's the two new introductions, Justice and Williams, in their first Hilltoppers games, who are leading the way with 27 points combined, nearly half of Western's output.
Well, we're certainly encouraged about what those two guys are bringing to the table. The transfer, market is big in today's college game, and they're making their impact known.
Rick Stansbury, of course, known as a fantastic recruiter, going back to his time as an assistant and head coach then for 14 years at Mississippi State when he took the Bulldogs to 6 NCAA tournaments. A couple of SEC titles. Inside of Wilkerson for the lay-in off a good feed from Junior Clay, who led the Golden Eagles more than 4 assists a game last year. Hollingsworth into traffic, lost it out of bounds. Last touch by the Hilltoppers, and Tech gets it back.
Well, trust me, from a guy who in 1991 was recruited by Rick Stansbury. I went to Mississippi State as a freshman that year, and he was the guy that recruited me as a high school senior and was assistant during my whole career there. And he was a relentless recruiter, left no stone unturned, and has always been able to get players to campus.
One of only 9 schools in the country, Western Kentucky, with back-to-back top 20 recruiting classes in 2017 and 2018. Davidson finally hits from 3, his first. He has a dozen points now to lead Tech. Coming alive in the second half. It's a 7-0 Golden Eagles run to cut it down to 13. Bassey on the lob, and he's fouled by Sela.
It's a great read by Bassey, who saw his man switch the cross screen action. Instead of following the ball across the paint, he stayed at home. They were trying to go for the home run lob there. Couldn't quite come up with the finish, but great job reading that screening action.
Mentioned Western, just one of 9 schools with a top 20 recruiting class, 2017-2018. The other 8 were Duke, Kentucky, UCLA, Oregon, Kansas, North Carolina, Texas, and Michigan State. And there are very few men other than Rick Stansbury who can vault a Conference USA program onto that list.
That's some great company, some of the blue bloods of college basketball for sure.
Here's Vick. He had a couple of threes in the first half, drives all the way in for 2, and that boosts him to 8 for the game. So make it a 9-2 Tech run. Western Kentucky is led by as many as 22. Bassey wanted another lob. Anderson. Williams. 5 to shoot. Williams going to have to hoist it. And he did not draw iron. Perhaps the Hilltoppers' worst offensive possession of the game, certainly worst among those that didn't end in a turnover.
Yeah, not the shot they were looking for there. Didn't ever get the ball changed from one side of the floor to the other, and Tennessee Tech defense did not have to work very hard on that possession.
If the Golden Eagles could get their three-pointers to fall, they're just 3 of 17 so far. That could make a big difference. Davidson hit his last one. Underneath, Sela all alone, an 11-2 Tech spurt. Western Kentucky's lead down to 11, and perhaps Rick Stansbury going to think about a timeout in the immediate future.
You don't see very many freshmen that play the pick and roll as well as Keyshawn Davidson. The coaching staff loves his vision, and most of the time you see a college player that's really, really good off the ball screen like that. He's a guy that's been around for a while. Keyshawn Davidson, they feel like, is a guy that with the ball in his hands can make something happen every time off a pick and roll action, and that's what he did right there. Eyes up, found the cutter going to the basket for the easy 2.
Seems like especially to have a freshman of his caliber come in with the beginning of a new reign for John Pelfrey on the Golden Eagles bench. Those two could become synonymous if they're able to build Tech basketball back up to where it's used to being. Allen off the mark from 3. He has not been able to find his range tonight. Savage. Williams through contact, couldn't finish, wanted a foul, but Allen the rebound. Allen has all kinds of athleticism, but he lost the ball on the way to the goal, and it's out of bounds. Last touch by either Allen or Sela. And you feel for Darius Allen a little bit, the transfer from Baylor, who didn't get a lot of game time, only appeared in 14 games for the Bears last season, and seems like he's having a tough time getting his feet under him tonight.
Well, he's going to be a big part of what they do, and for them to be successful, he's going to have to play better than he has tonight, and he will. But yeah, certainly frustrated if the young man cannot get one to fall, and that time right there in transition, just trying to put his head down and make something happen, not able to do so.
Savage draws the hedge. Williams spins through, and a foul called before the basket. A flop was called on Larry Quimmy.
I've never actually seen it called a flop. I've seen the block, but I've never seen a flop called.
And Rick Stansbury is saying, hold on now. All he did was get out of his way. And Williams laid that up. We'd rather have the 2 points than shoot a 1-and-1. Rick Stansbury's having some kind of discussion here with our officials.
Yeah, he's about to shoot a wide open layup.
And the officials are getting ready to have this thrown in from out of bounds. So it wasn't a foul called against him. It was a flop warning.
I see.
So Stansbury saying, you just cost us 2 points. It was there for Williams for a moment, but Clay the steal. Pass was too late arriving. Williams pull up. Just crawled off the rim, and Bassey is 6th rebound. I've literally never seen that.
Neither have I. That's been something new this year. That
Hollingsworth will get 2. It is a new point of emphasis for the officials this season. Some other changes. Of course, you've noticed the double three-point line is back. Had a brief stint before the women's line moved back to 20 feet 9 inches. This year, the men's three-point line has moved back to 22 feet 1 3/4 inches, the international distance. That's the black line, of course, outermost ring. The shot clock also will reset to 20 rather than 30 on an offensive rebound. And in the last 2 minutes of the second half at overtime, we have coaches' live ball timeouts. Used to be the norm, no longer allowed. Outside of the last 2 minutes of the second half at overtime in college basketball, all other live ball timeouts have to be called by players on the floor. Also have reviews allowed of goaltending and basket interference in those last 2 minutes. So it's a 13-point lead again for Western Kentucky off the free throw pair from Hollingsworth. Hilltoppers show their zone defense again. Vick, long three. Golden Eagles have not been able to penetrate that Western Kentucky zone with any reliability. Hollingsworth over Golday, no call either way. Williams off back iron, Golday the rebound. Beautiful pass to Vick. He's denied by Williams, and Savage turns back Quimmy. Back-to-back blocks. Play to the rim. He's blocked by Williams and Savage. Hollingsworth. A bump and a blocking foul, no basket. So Western Kentucky's defense comes up big. 3 blocks on 1 possession. Call it a block and a half each for Carson Williams and Jared Savage, to the rejoicing of this Diddle Arena crowd. Their Hilltoppers up 13, more in just over 7 minutes to go second. 60-47, the Western Kentucky lead. Told you last year the Hilltoppers blocked more than 5 shots per game to lead Conference USA, mainly through Charles Bassey, but 3 blocks on 1 possession, Jay, and all from Williams and Savage.
Well, that's a great hustle back by Carson Williams to erase. There's nobody back in transition for the Hilltoppers, but he gets back, hustles. Savage follows it up with another one, and an empty possession there for Tennessee Tech when you think, man, finally, an easy bucket we're about to get.
And that would have cut the deficit down to 11. It's been into the low 20s a couple of times tonight. Golden Eagles have been cutting into this deficit, mostly because Western Kentucky has not had a field goal go down for more than 6 minutes. Tavion Hollingsworth has found scoring at the foul line, though, where he's now hit 3 in a row for Western's last 3 points. He was fouled going into the break, and the Hilltoppers now in the double bonus.
Tennessee Tech hanging around. If they could get 1 or 2 of those long distance jumpers to go down to make this a game late.
Hilltoppers in their zone defense again. This has mostly led to long threes from Tech. This time they get inside, but Sela mishandled the pass. Savage comes the other way, 3-on-2. Hollingsworth. And Justice settles it down. Kick out, Savage for 3.
There it is.
Jared Savage has his first 3-pointer of the season. Shot 36% from long range a year ago.
Great setup by Cameron Justice. Drives a baseline, draws a defender. Call that the baseline drift. Jared Savage spotting up right where he should have been in the corner. The easy catch and shoot.
Davidson. Sela for 3. And he hits. Abadou Sela from outside. That gives him a team best 13 points on 6 of 7 from the field. Meanwhile, all 5 of the floor, the Western Kentucky starters have 8 points or more. Kind of balanced attack the Hilltoppers had a year ago. Bassey couldn't handle the low pass from Hollingsworth. Davidson long 3. Back-to-back triples, just what you called for, Jay.
There they come.
Davidson takes over the team lead again with 15. It's now tops in the game for either team. Golden Eagles have hit 3 of their last 5 3-pointers. Backdoor Justice for 2.
A great cut by Cam Justice, moving without the ball. Charles Bassey able to find him on the way to the basket for the layup, and here they come. It's 3 in a row for Tennessee Tech, and where's that been all night?
Third 3-pointer for Hunter Vick. He's into double figures with 11. Hollingsworth in traffic. It was a hopeful lob for Bassey. Luckily for him, he gets it back. Justice for 3. A couple of bounces didn't drop. Rebound tracked down by Sela. Under 5 minutes to go, but Tennessee Tech can cut it to single digits. Davidson, teardrop. Foul called before. The whistle blew. Western Kentucky's still playing. A foul was called all the way back at this end. And Rick Stansbury is not happy.
I never heard the whistle. I don't think Rick did either.
There was a single whistle blast. Evidently must have been a timeout rather than a foul called by Tennessee Tech when Davidson was driving. And not a lot of people heard that whistle, but we will have a 30-second timeout charged to the Golden Eagles, who have cut this down to a 10-point game. Western Kentucky last year, Jay, talking about that balance, had 4 different players average 12 points or more, none of them more than 14.6 a game. That was Charles Bassey. And it looks like could be more of the same this year because they bring back all 4 of those guys. And they add Cameron Justice, an 18.5-point-a-game scorer, and Carson Williams, a 12-point-a-game scorer to that mix. It's not out of the question the Hilltoppers could end up with 6 guys averaging double digits or at least 8, 9 a game.
Yeah, and that's a good feeling as a coach because you don't have to rely on one guy to get it done for you every single night. You got guys that can do it from multiple positions. You got guys that can do it from inside and out. So that's a very, very good feeling to have as a coach.
Because we've talked quite a bit, and accurately so, about Charles Bassey having a somewhat surprisingly quiet game, especially against one of the lower-ranked opponents that they're going to face this year based on the NCAA's net rating from a year ago when Tennessee Tech was 331st out of 353 Division I teams. But even still, he's quietly ended up with 10 points and 7 rebounds. Not as efficient as he was most of the time last season, but it's not as though he's been invisible, especially in the second half.
Well, and then, that's going to happen. He's going to command a lot of attention from other teams defensively, and so there's going to be nights where he doesn't put up the big numbers. But what he's going to do is he's going to command that double team. It gets Hollingsworth, Justice, and all those perimeter guys Savage better shots.
He has picked up an assist, a steal, a couple of blocks. 8 to shoot for the Golden Eagles. Junior Clay has not had a lot of luck from deep. And another illegal screen call. Sela nailed yet again for the moving screen.
Is that his 4th moving screen tonight?
And that would be called his 5th foul. He's out. So Sela was just coming into his own in the second half at 13 points, including a 3-pointer. But he is done for the final 4:26, having fouled out.
They got to clean that part of their offense up as much as they're going to rely on the ball screen throughout the season. They can't afford 4 turnovers on illegal screens every game.
That's 19 Golden Eagles turnovers tonight. Up high, Bassey couldn't finish. Underneath Williams, and he's in for 16 points now to take over the game lead.
That's a nifty interior pass by Charles Bassey, finding the cutting Williams.
That's his 2nd assist tonight. Final 4 minutes. Hilltoppers have restored their dozen-point lead, but certainly Tennessee Tech has had good moments in this second half. The Golden Eagles have acquitted themselves much better than they did early on in the second period. Darius Allen back in after Sela fouled out. Allen all the way in. Cut off again by Williams. Clay with 5 to shoot against Justice. Pass Bassey for 2. So it's a 10-point game again. A lot of work still for Tech to do in the final 3 minutes and change, but not out of the question. Especially because the Hilltoppers have not shot free throws exceptionally so far this season. But Bassey inside, the finish off a feed from Justice.
That's what you want to see more of. That's his bread and butter. He buries his guy deep in the paint, catches it where there's no post move needed. All he's got to do is turn, find his target, and score.
It's been a struggle for Tennessee Tech on the road in non-conference play for a couple of years now. Allen finally hits from 3, and it's back down to single digits, a 9-point game. The Golden Eagles are looking for their first true road win in non-conference play since beating Alabama A&M on December 3rd of 2016, nearly 3 full years ago.
It's hard to win on the road in college basketball. Tennessee Tech certainly figuring that out here tonight in Diddle Arena.
Bassey inside again. Fouled by Wilkerson. 2 minutes 10 to go on the night of the season opener at Diddle Arena, where Western Kentucky's lead has shrunk to 9, but Charles Bassey, after a quiet night for him, trying to close this one out for the hometown Hilltoppers. He'll be at the line when we get back. Only 2 minutes, 10 seconds to go from Diddle Arena, and Western Kentucky's lead is 9 with Charles Bassey at the foul line for 2 after this timeout. Nate Gatter, Jay Walton back with you from Bowling Green. But Jay, for as much as it looks like this one is going to slip away from Tennessee Tech, that deficit, it looks like, got just a little bit too big. So many reasons for optimism for the Golden Eagles under John Pelphrey. Already had a lot of quality youth on this roster coming back, and you add in Keyshawn Davidson, who looks like he could be one of the top freshmen in his conference.
Well, they've had a tough shooting night tonight. You know those shots are going to go down throughout the course of the season. But you look at Davidson, played 30-plus minutes tonight as a true freshman, been the focus of Western Kentucky's defense. He's got 6 assists, no turnovers. That's incredible for a freshman in this environment. You know what I like the best about it is early on in the game when he was struggling, couldn't get the ball to go down on his jump shot. I loved his body language. He didn't get rattled. He didn't start to force the issue. This guy doesn't look like a true freshman out there to me.
15 points on only 9 attempts from the field. And that was the same story in the exhibition. He had 26 points on 9 of 12 shooting.
Got really hot from deep against Bryan College.
Yeah, extremely efficient. Efficient with his passing as well. That assist to turnover ratio. Coming into last season, it had been more than 7 years since Tennessee Tech had a freshman go for 20 points or more in a game. The Eagles had 3 different freshmen do it last season. Hunter Vick, Junior Clay, and Jared Sherfield all did it. At least once. Davidson off the mark, Bassey clears the glass. And it looks like Davidson is a pretty sure bet to go for 20 at least once this season, if not many more times than that.
I think you will.
That gives the Golden Eagles 4 underclassmen, all with significant scoring punch. And of course, Darius Allen, for all of his struggles tonight, should be expected to provide plenty on the offensive end this season for Tech. Final minute and a half. Bassey with 5 to shoot. He'll tee up a 3 and hits. Made 45% of them last season, although only 20 attempts. And wouldn't you know it, that gives him 16 points, equals the game high.
Very quiet 16, especially, couldn't get the touches that he wanted in the paint early on, but has started to assert himself here in this later part of this game and closing it out for the Hilltoppers.
Savage just snatched away his double-double with that rebound. That would have been number 10 for Bassey. Into the final minute, and Western Kentucky will, in fact, take this one and move to 1-0. Another OVC test coming up Saturday, 3 o'clock Central Time against Austin Peay. Hollingsworth is fouled. We'll have that here on ESPN+. Meanwhile, Tennessee Tech will head home for a Saturday night matchup against NAIA opponent Martin Methodist. This will move Rick Stansbury as well to 11-2 against John Pelphrey in their careers. Stansbury at Mississippi State and here at Western Kentucky. Pelphrey at South Alabama, Arkansas, and now Tennessee Tech. To underscore that youth scoring point as well for Tennessee Tech, Vick and Clay both averaged double figures last season. First freshman duo to do that for Tech in 40 years. Davidson out of the corner. 18 for Davidson.
I really like this young player. He can do it inside, can do it outside, can do it with the ball in his hands, can make something happen off the pick and roll. And that's the way they want to play. He's going to be really, really key for this team.
18 points on 7 of 11 shooting, 6 assists without a turnover for Keyshawn Davidson. Certainly Western Kentucky will get well-deserved headlines from a 12-point win tonight, but Keyshawn Davidson at least deserves some subheadings and maybe a headline or 2 back in Cookeville, because Tech fans are going to enjoy watching him for years to come. Western Kentucky moves to 1-0. The Hilltoppers lofty expectations this season met at least for tonight. Jay, any final thoughts?
Well, it's a great first night for the Hilltoppers. Got a lot of balanced scoring, but the key for me was what you got out of your 2 newcomers, Carson Williams and Cameron Justice. What those 2 transfers bring to the table just only adds to the expectations that we have here for Western Kentucky this season.
If you had to pick out 1 or 2 things that the Hilltoppers need to do better, either Saturday against Austin Peay or certainly going forward against their more difficult tests this year that are going to include plenty of tough opponents, what would they be?
Well, just take a little bit better care of the ball. Let's see, 16 turnovers tonight. That's a little high. especially Hollingsworth, I thought tried to force the issue a little bit and get a little bit loose with it in the second half. So, not trying to do too much. We understand they don't have a true point guard, but they got to take a little bit better care of the basketball.
So for Jay Walton, our producer Jessica Gibbs, and the rest of our fantastic crew in Bowling Green, Nate Gatter saying so long, where the final score, once again, Western Kentucky 76, Tennessee Tech 64. All games airing on the ESPN Network, streaming live and archived on the ESPN app. This has been a presentation of ESPN.